What's going on, Farmer Wants a Wife fans? I'm Lauren Ashley Beck, and today we're going to get to talk with some of the beautiful ladies from the farm. First up is the fun-loving Cassidy Jo. Cassidy Jo, how you doing, girl?
Cool, girl. I'm making it. Yeah, life is busy. It's cool, but I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you
Good.
so much for taking the time to sit down with us, girl. Your story has been a fun one to watch. And, I want to know, why did you audition for Farmer Wants a Wife? There are so many reality dating shows out there. Why this one specifically?
Girl, as the weeks go by, I'm like, why did I do this? I'm an open book, so I guess I was just made for this, right? But yeah, I won't say yes to just any dating show. My dad's watching and my preacher and all of them, right? So I'm like, I gotta toe the line. But when they explained the concept of this show, it really made me feel like they were truly trying to find me my person, right? Not just put me on reality television and hopefully hope that I make good TV. So just really like hearing what the show was about, what the process looked like. I trusted in that, and I'm really glad I did, because I don't think I could have chosen a better dating show to go on where my chances of it working out were really great.
So you felt like the show was more invested in actually finding you a life partner than just having good sound bites or good moments.
Totally. And you have your doubts, right? You're like, okay, I know I'm going on there. It's for TV, but throughout the entire process, I never felt like, I was there for anything other than trying to find my person, which is really good. It's really reassuring, right? So, yeah, there's not much that I would change, and I don't know if I would pick any other show over Farmer Wants a Wife now that I've done it over this one. I mean, maybe like Big Brother where you win $750,000, maybe, but no, I think it worked out great for me, and I really liked the entire process.
Well, I personally think you would crush it on Big Brother. So if that's something you want, put that into the universe, girl. I would be Team Cassidy Jo for sure.
I have tried. So I'm best friends with Taylor Hill, and I was super far along in the casting process with her last year. I mean, I'm glad it worked out for her, right? But
it did.
I think I'd be pretty good too. And then honestly, 2 months later, the casting team for Farmer Wants a Wife reached out. So I guess this was that's the cards aligned for me. This was the one.
Totally. Yeah. And I just love to hear how supportive they are of that love story and of that journey. So before venturing from your home to the farm, you got to see tapes of the farmers. What was it about Farmer Allen that drew you to him?
It was like in the first 10 seconds, I just was smiling, listening to him talk. He's a real personable guy. He was super funny. And you could just tell he was himself, right? And I think they did a really good job with all 4 of the guys. They're really true and authentic to who they are and never try to present themselves differently. And I believe that I try to be the same way, right? And so, I don't know, he just seemed like actually, my feedback about Alan was he's so hot, and I feel like I could just sit there and talk to him for hours. He just seemed really easy to talk to. And for me, that's important, right? Like, yeah, I want to be okay with looking at you 24/7, right? But at the same time, like somebody who I can just talk to. And that's what he seemed like that guy for me.
That's beautiful. And also, like, we're going to get gray and wrinkly one day. Looks are only going to last so long. So you need to be able to hold a conversation.
Right. Yeah. Like, I need a guy who can make me laugh. I mean, he just, in that short little, I don't even know, minute clip, maybe, he just seemed like he had all the things that I was looking for in a husband. So that's why he was my number one. I got lucky. I think a lot of girls had him as his number one, actually. The ladies were, yeah, they were creeping.
Wow. I could see why, though. He does see him and Landon both. I mean, like you said, all 4 of them are great picks.
Truly. I mean, truly. Yeah. But I think everybody, from as much as you can get from a minute clip, just felt like he was somebody you could easily talk to. And, I'm a simple gal. I don't need much. People hear me say on the show, and, they cut things because they don't have enough time to put everything in there, right? But on my first date, I was saying, I just want somebody to make the bed with me. And people were kind of cracking on me like, raise your standards, girl. But the whole point of that, right, and to sum it all up, and the whole thing that I was saying was just somebody that I can just do life with, right? Like, I don't need a ton. A really good person, somebody to make me laugh, somebody to go to the movies with me on the weekend. Like, I'm not asking for a lot. I have high standards, but at the end of the day, I just want somebody to love me. And I think they did a great job picking all these guys who are trying to, find that too.
Yeah, like a life partner. And speaking about that first, I want to talk about that first interaction that you and Alan had. And in speaking about him being easy to talk to and all of that, we see you come in with this fun-loving big ball of energy, and Alan's just like, I like to give acts of service. Like, maybe I'll put gas in her car. Just, can you break down that whole sequence of events for us, please?
Oh yeah, poor guy. Oh my, it's just because I'm so outgoing. I wear my heart on my sleeve. And Alan does too, but just not in such a loud way, right? And so, of course, they made me go first to see Alan out of all of the 8 girls. I'm like, thank you, Fox. I really appreciate that. Giving them a hard time. So not only am I like the most outgoing person ever, but it was the very first one-on-one too. So that combined, I did feel for the guy. But yeah, I was super nervous too. So I was also kind of acting a little like out of character. And I think at one point I was trying to say how much older my brother is than I am, and I couldn't do math. And he's like, it's okay. He's like, it's this number. I'm like, thank you. I can't do math. So we were super nervous, but yeah, what an interesting interaction, right?
It was so fun to watch though, because it definitely gave you those vibes of like first date nerves. And there was something that was so authentic and sweet about that. When you walked away, did you walk away from that being like, okay, maybe he's not into me?
Yes. Yeah. Because it's your first one, interaction with him. And in that video that we saw, he was super outgoing. He was so funny. And he seemed so easy to talk to. And then you get in that setting where it's super real. You've got 7 cameras in your face. And I don't think anybody's going to be themselves in that moment. If you are, props to you. Because even I wasn't. And I'm like the most outgoing, just go with the flow kind of person. So, yeah, it was hard. Like, that was the hardest first date I have ever been on in my entire life. I mean, the nerves were there, but we got through it. And yeah, and then you see the whole night transpired was just crazy because I'm forgetting her name right now, but she the first girl said no, right? So then me being picked last, I just thought I was getting like a participation trophy. So then I'm crying thinking like he doesn't even want me there, because I did think that our first one-on-one interaction was not that great, like truly. But it's because I don't think anybody can have a great 10 minutes when it's the first time we've ever been on camera, right? Like, it's super nerve-wracking. And I'm hard on myself. So very hard on myself. So I just was like in my mind thinking I wasn't myself. I was so nervous. I couldn't even breathe. I asked if he was nervous. He's like, no, right? Which everybody saw. It's like, really good. Sure. Cool, Alan, thank you. So then, yeah, that whole day was just crazy emotions, crazy. The guy was killing me. And we got down there and I said, after he picked me to go home with him first, I said, what are you doing to me? He's like, I don't know. I just was mixing up the order. Right. I mean, so I'm like, oh, you're just trying to keep me on my toes. He's like, yep, I sure am. I was like, yeah, well, you definitely are, honey. I mean, Lord.
So when he did call your name for that 24 date, were you like, sir, what?
I think I was crying just before, like seriously, like having a little pity party for myself, thinking like, this guy doesn't even want me there. I just got lucky. That's embarrassing. And I was just, I think in my mind, just a little embarrassed thinking because of that situation, I mean, I shouldn't even really be going, right? So the last thing that I thought that was going to happen was me going back to the farm with him first. Truly, did not expect it at all.
Walk us through that feeling of being picked first in front of all of the girls, getting to go to his farm. On one hand, it's very exciting, but on the other hand, it's like, uh-oh, these girls are going to be looking at me like I'm competition.
That's a really good point, because also they made Alan pick who made him pick first. So out of all the guys, he was the first guy to pick the first girl to go back with him for the first 24 hours. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think you heard me say like, I'll see you soon, girls, because it is a little like, I don't want them to hate me. I'm a girl's girl, like to the core. I just love people in general. And so I am very much a people pleaser. I think people are going to see that in a little bit of tonight's episode, actually. And it's hard. I mean, being in that world and like fighting over one man in his home and in that situation, like you're going to have to understand, like, not everybody's going to love you in that situation because you're fighting over the same man, maybe, right? Like, yeah, that was in the back of my head. I was like, great, these girls are going to hate me. They're going to show up and not talk to me. But no, everybody ended up being wonderful. We had a really fun time actually on the farm together.
Good. I love to hear that. From one people pleaser to the next, I totally get it. So to have that validation from those girls, I'm sure was lovely. On your 24-hour date and in talking about the house, let's talk about these periwinkle cabinets and like what the thought was when you saw those.
Oh, the cabinets. Okay. Actually, I'll tell you, I'll be honest about this. So when I turned around and you go watch the episode, I said to Alan, who picked that out? And I was actually talking about the wallpaper, because that whole wall was different than the rest of the house. So the cabinets were different and the wallpaper, right? The one part of the house. And so thinking like he was going to answer about the wallpaper, he kind of outed himself and he mentioned the cabinets. He thought I was talking about the cabinets. At that point, I was like, all right, some chick, like I get it, whatever, right? Like we can change that. That's easy. That's fixable. No big deal. It was a cute color, honestly. Yeah. And then I couldn't remember if I had somehow found out or if he told me that he was, divorced, and then watching it back, right? Like you're just in a whirlwind. It was freezing cold that night on our date or whatever, but he ended up saying, like, oh, you don't know. And he told me. So yeah, that moment was funny because I wanted to say, oh, I wasn't even talking about the cabinets, but
talking about something else entirely. Yeah.
I'm sure she picked out the wallpaper too. It was super cute.
When the D word came down, did that give you pause? Were you like, okay, maybe I don't know if this is what I'm looking for?
Okay, so it gave me a pause in a way that I think so highly of Alan. And in that moment, I just thought, how could anyone not fight to the death to be with this man? Almost in that way, because he's younger. I think Alan was 32 at the time, right? And so I just thought, wow, he's really missing out. Like that was my initial reaction, right? So I think a lot of people might think, I wanted to know what the reason was. That mattered to me. And I said, what matters? Did you cheat? I wanted to know, like, are you a cheater? These are things that when you're getting ready to try to date this person, I want to know, okay, you didn't cheat on her. Great. You tried as best you can. Like, what more can I ask for? And you're ready to try again. That's all I could ever ask for, right? So mostly I just was like, well, snooze you lose, sucker, because I felt really lucky in that moment just to even be around Alan, getting to know him.
Yeah. No, and I mean, we even see you say that, like, did you try? And I love that you guys were able to work through that and sort of process through that together.
A lot of people, I think, maybe misunderstood me asking that, like, and I've seen on Twitter, like, whew, girl, let me tell you, you go on reality TV, you better have some thick skin. You better have some thick skin. But I do, so it's good. I'm fine. But people saying, like, really? You think he wouldn't try? And nowadays, honestly, I think it's a fair question, because I don't think marriage is as valued as it used to be. Nowadays, it's not a big deal if you've been divorced 2 or 3 times. Like it's not as big of a deal to get a divorce. And for me, like, I want to try as hard as I can. That's why I'm like, listen, I will wait until I am for sure. Because I know people change and things happen or whatever. And so I'm like, I'm just trying to avoid the first divorce, right? Because like, I get it. But yeah, so I think people misunderstood that. So hopefully they can understand. I really, at that moment, was just making sure that he valued marriage as much as I do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's a great thing to call attention to. You are entering something serious. So,
or hopefully, right?
Yeah.
Like, I gotta know these things. And it's like speed dating. You gotta figure these things out in X amount of weeks, not very long, if you even get to make it that long, right? So it's like, you're trying to get like all the heavy stuff out of the way. And I know it's a lot, but it's because I really, truly like showed up looking for my husband, I could have just had, fluffy conversations the whole night. It would have been nice. But I needed to know about this man. I needed to know about this man.
Period. I know that's right.
Period.
I love it. Okay. After all this heavy conversation.
Yeah.
Was there anything that we didn't see that happened that night?
No. Well, I mean, the cameras aren't rolling all the time, right? But
sure.
I don't know. They were rolling. Like when we walked out, they got us holding hands and they got us, holding arms while you were walking in. And no, we sat there for like 3 hours in the cold talking. And I mean, they got every bit of it. And so no, you get to see all of it, right? And then I think a lot of people were very curious about the show, like after the date, and they're like, well, you live in his home, right? Like, what are those sleeping arrangements like? And I said, well, let me tell you, we had somebody sleeping in between us. Like we had, right, a regular who was someone there from production with us the whole time. So we had our own rooms and our own bunk beds. And honestly, we were so tired from the night. You know, filming can take a while. You're trying to get the lighting right, and we sat there and talked for a long time. So when we went back, we both just crashed.
When you go back to your room in this man's home, what is going through your mind?
It's so weird. It is so weird. Let me tell you, all I could think about the first night was like, when I get up and I have to go to the bathroom in the morning, right, to brush my teeth, brush my hair, I have to go down the hallway where he can totally see me from anywhere else in the house. And I'm, you know, like, that is not a normal, like, first date interaction, right? Like, you want your breath to smell good. You want your hair to be perfect. Oh no. Day one, he got to see like full, no makeup, bedhead. I sweat when I sleep. I'm not a cute morning person, right? And he got to see that. Yeah. That was all I could think about the night before. I was like, wow, we're really just like skipping through a lot of phases here. Like, this guy's truly about to see me. And then, yeah, like, and then you get comfortable with it. It's actually kind of nice. Like, you don't really have a choice, right?
Right. Like, yeah, you guys went from a 0 to 100 real quick.
Real quick. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
yeah.
So the girls come back to the farm.
They do. Yep.
What are they quizzing you? Are they like, what'd you guys do? What went down?
Yeah, no, they were great. They understood the process. I think a lot of the girls were saying like, and their mindset was, well, he's going to get the nerves out of the way, get the first date out of the way with Cassidy, and maybe he'll be more warmed up with the whole thing once we get there. Which is obviously kind of a good way to look at it, especially with Alan. He's a little bit more reserved, so it takes more time than somebody who's the social butterfly like I am, right? So they asked some questions. Yeah, we all did after everybody's dates, right? We're curious. Yeah, and I would get jealous because I'm like, wow, my first date I was freezing. You got a fish, your first fish with him? How freaking cute is that? Are you kidding me? How could I not be jealous? I'm like, are you seriously kidding me, Kelsey? You literally got your first fish today? Okay, cool. I was freezing cold. So yeah, we're all a little nosy afterwards. And it's the crazy part too is, when in real life would you ever be living in this man's home, waiting for him to come back with the other girl he's dating? Like, no. At least in real life, you don't see it, right? Like, if he's out being a player, like, I'm not sitting there waiting and like wondering how it went, right? So
that's exactly right.
It's a whole other ball game to see them come back together and then have to be around each other when they're both there, right? I feel like in other dating shows, maybe traditionally it's just all the girls in one location, right? But no, like, seeing them both coming back together, they're both cheesing, they're grinning ear to ear. You're like, great, all right, well, they love each other, so that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, you truly got to deal with it all and have some thick skin and be confident in what you have, you know, with your farmer, with Alan specifically.
Well, my hat goes off to all of you ladies, just the way that you did that and the way that you all respected and supported one another, because that's not easy to do, which is the perfect segue into seeing other women get voted out. We saw this heartbreaking moment, spoiler alert, with Sloan, where the connection just isn't there. And unfortunately, that's just the name of the game. What is the immediate vibe in the room? Is it like, oh no, I feel so bad for Sloan? Is it like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that I'm still here? What's the vibe when a girl gets sent home?
Oh, it's yeah, you're bummed out. Nobody likes that feeling of being rejected, right? Everybody at the end of the day, you want somebody to pick you and you want to feel chosen. And so I think everyone that was, you know, there, everyone has great hearts, right? And they're all very caring. And so in that moment, like, yeah, I'm kind of panicking. Like, is it me? You never know, right? But no, you're just sad because you know how that feels. Nobody likes that feeling. And you know, the cool part is everybody was super supportive, and even the ones that went home early were all still friends. So yeah, that's a sad moment. Nobody likes it, you know, but yeah, I guess it's just part of it, which I guess the first time that you see a girl get sent home, you're really like, wow, like that could be me next. You never know.
Yeah. Yeah. Shartasia was actually telling me about the bond between you and the girls. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Love her. Just wait, did she mention like my bond or just the girls in general? Like all
She said the girls in general. Yeah. Like all of you guys were just super close, super supportive. You're all visiting each other, hanging out, all that.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's like this for other like dating shows. I truly don't. But for some reason, with all of us girls on Farmer Wants a Wife, I mean, like, we're like real ones. Like, I mean, I've already hung out with 10 of the girls after we finished filming, right? I don't know. I think there's a different level of like, how do I explain this? when there's just a few girls, right, in the setting in that one home, and there's only 2 bedrooms, you're sharing a room with 2 other girls. You're cooking each other's foods. Like, I don't know. It's just, how do I explain this? It's more intimate, right? So you truly get to know those girls because you're surrounded by fewer girls during the week on such a deeper level rather than being in the house with 20 of them, right? And then I think we would be so happy to finally have time with some of the other girls because we're with, right, on the weekends that we were so excited to see them. Yeah, but you make a really great point. There is something different about the connection I have with all the girls from this show. I mean, truly. And I've done pageants throughout my whole life, right? So I know what sisterhood's like, and, you know, just the importance of, you know, for me, Alan was going to end up with one girl. So, okay, your odds kind of suck. But look at the big picture. What else can you get from this? And a whole lot. And one of those things was all the friendships that I cherish so much now. There was something different about our group for sure. Everyone was so amazing.
That's beautiful. It's like the farmer wants a wife sisterhood.
Sisterhood of the traveling farmer Levi.
The sisterhood of the traveling farmer sisters.
It really was. I think it just goes to show that they did a really good job, you know, finding women to be on this show who are all very, like, just well-rounded, you know, down to earth, great girls. I was worried I was going to be the only sassy one, like, hey, listen. And then last week's episode, I was like, that's right. I know that's right, girls. You know, they were asking the hard questions too. And just everyone's like, hey, look, we're all here for the right reasons. And you could tell. So I'm really lucky that I got to be around the women that I got to be around.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What feeling would you want Farmer Wants a Wife, the audience of Farmer Wants a Wife, to walk away with after watching Cassidy Jo?
That's a loaded question. I could sit here and go, like, I want them to love me and think I'm funny. Yeah, you know, the whole thing is a learning lesson, right? Because I am so open. I wear my heart on my sleeve. And I think sometimes, like, I recognize that sometimes I don't need to be as open, right? But so watching yourself, right, and you think that you may look one way or the other, and I can see how sometimes it may come off like something else, but ultimately I hope that people can see that I'm real. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, the feedback that I've gotten from people that don't know me and the people that know me, they're like, oh yeah, that's you. You are totally being yourself. And that matters to me because I think at the end of the day, who doesn't want every single person to love them and think the world of them? And it's not going to be that way, right? So my ability to just show up, stay true to myself, not change when the cameras came on, I think that's something to be proud of. I don't think everybody does that, and I don't blame them. It's hard. I mean, you're putting yourself on a pedestal and allowing people, you know, to watch you on just this level for me where I was so vulnerable, so open, and they can interpret that however they want, right? So if anything, there's not a single part about me or that experience where I didn't show up truly, like, ready to give this my best shot and just be myself and hope that he loved me for me, right? I was never going to, because truly, if you're trying to be there and find a husband, if you're not yourself, it's not going to work out. And so I hope people see that about me.
I think they will. I definitely think they will. And do.
So.
Is there anything else that you want to say about your journey on Farmer Wants a Wife before we play a game?
Love games. No, I mean, I think we covered it all. Honestly, everybody keeps asking me, like, did you really enjoy the experience or can you just not say, right? Those NDAs are real, but it's such a good feeling to be able to say, I truly couldn't have asked for a better experience, you know, being a part of Farmer Wants a Wife. And my hope is that everybody who's watching can see that, you know, in each episode that we're really, truly enjoying being there. And afterwards, there's not many negative things that I could say, right? So yeah, it's great. I'm honored that I got to be a part of season 1 of hopefully many, many seasons, right? We'll see.
Well, thank you for letting us watch you, girl.
It's what I do. I don't really have a choice because now I'm like, oh, all right.
You're in it. It's there.
It's happening every Wednesday, no matter what. Every Wednesday, this show is happening. So yeah, yes. It's a great time.
Okay, let's jump into a quick round of this or that. I'm just going to throw some terms at you. You're going to tell me which ones you like. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Heels or cowboy boots?
Ooh, heels, pageant girl at heart. I know.
Whiskey or an ice cold beer?
Oh, no. I can't. I'm from the South originally, way back, and I don't drink beer, which is not very like Southern or American of me when people say that. So whiskey.
Chaps or denim?
Denim.
Denim. Farm or city?
I like both. I like the farm and I like the city. For their now where I'm at in my life, almost 30, farm.
Okay, you said you like both those. So if you had to pick a specific farm and a specific city, what would those be? Would it be Farmer Allen's farm?
Farmer Allen's farm. I probably have to say that, but it is so beautiful. I mean, truly, like it's like 200 plus acres of it's amazing. So Farmer Allen's farm, and then city, probably right where I am. Scottsdale's a good time. Yeah. Arizona's the place to be right now. I mean, truly, like the traffic is insane, but I moved out here 5 years ago and I love it here. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Cassidy Jo, where can everyone find you as you journey through life?
Well, you know, the handy dandy, like social media, what would we do without it, right? Yeah, so Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Snapchat, Be Real, Facebook. I mean, you name it, I'm on it all. And so I think my handles are Cassidy Jo Jax on Twitter, TikTok, and then, no. Take that back.
Yes, tell us what the handles are because we want to make sure they
Okay, yeah. So my Instagram and TikTok are Cassidy Jo Jax, just at Cassidy Jo Jax. Twitter is Cassidy_Jax.
Perfect. And I'll put it down there for them too, so that way they can find you, girl. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us, Cassidy Jo. Thank you everyone at home for tuning in. Don't forget to tune in to Farmer Wants a Wife tonight and every Wednesday night on Fox.